Hi everyone, and welcome to my very first YouTube video in which I'm going to be talking about the Acend versus Heretics game, and most specifically Acend's defender side pistol round. Now I think this is a really nice round because it allows us to talk about one element of Acend that doesn't seem to be discussed nearly enough in my opinion, and that is in terms of their strategy. So before I start with this video, just want to give a shout out to Cordamento, who's seen Ed and for me did create this strat, and so I want to give him full credit and full props for all of this. I think this is really nice and very well thought through, so really big props to this guy. So let's take this back to the very beginning. And so we can see the very first thing that happens here is Kyle's Acend's Viper player places an unusual Viper wall, one that we do not see again for the entirety of the half. So what I've done here is I have just put where we are in the round into strat route to allow us to talk about it in a way that isn't me drawing on a really small minimap. So the first part here is this A short wall, and this part of the wall here is, I would say, pretty standard. This is somewhere that is pretty normal for a defender to smoke because it makes anyone wanting to push through it a little bit harder because you don't know what's going on the other side, and pushing through, you're going into the unknown. So this is pretty normal here. However, this part of the wall is not normal. This is because it is more normal to hold on to hookah or short from using a smoke here, and that's because you have a 50-50 angle here in which a defender could be on either side. You have the deeper angle here, one angle here, and one behind the box, which is here. Let me draw that on for you. So you would normally want to smoke here because it makes any attackers wanting to push through into an already hard angle even harder, and so you get more value for it. But Acend have decided that they want to smoke off Sands, and that is for a very specific reason, I believe. And I think that becomes clear when we talk about the very next thing that happens in the round. So this is us back at the beginning of the round, and what we're going to do here is we're just going to let the round play out, and we're going to see that Coldamenta, Acend server player, as soon as the round begins, is going to fire his recon arrow directly into the back of Hookah through the TPs. As you can see, the barriers drop and he fires it directly through. He does not hesitate and wait, and I think this gives the game away a little bit. The fact that he doesn't hesitate and wait implies to me that this recon arrow, this one, is not being used for its normal purpose. Its normal purpose is for information gathering, and no Heretics player would be in a position to be pinged by the CT recon at this time. And it lands so quickly that why would they push into it? Because they know it's there, they can see on their own minimap that it's there, so why wouldn't you just wait until it goes? Then a Cordamenta knows all of this, of course, so I think this gives away that it is serving a separate purpose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this arrow in game to demonstrate what the second purpose is. So here I am back in game, and this is me recreating exactly what Cordamenta does. Please just imagine I'm much better at the game and somehow I am him. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just let this go, and we're going to see what happens. Now as you can see, the teleport doors are open, and that is because when you fire a recon through the teleported doors, it serves to open them. Now this is particularly useful because this gives away a massive sound key. So let's just hop back into the strat rat so I can talk about this a little bit more easily. So this is us back in strat rat with everything that has happened so far mapped out. We have the wall and we have the recon. And as you can see here, now we have a position which any Heretics player would not be able to see across here through these now open teleporter doors. Meaning that an Acend player in the minds of Heretics could have walked past the Viper wall and straight into the teleport. This creates a situation in which there is now a question mark for the Heretics players inside teleport. This has two main uses. The first and more useful to me is that it creates a situation in which Heretics are now feeling like they could be crunched if they were to push short. This is going to knock Heretics off of their flow, and it is a nice little thing to do anyway. It also has a secondary purpose in that Acend knows that if a late hit comes through A, they are not going to want to push through teleport and rotate off. So that means they can rotate much more easily. Why do I think that Acend would feel more comfortable rotating? When you push through teleport, you spawn directly in the middle. However, that does not mean that anyone holding you has to be directly in front of you. They can be behind you, they can be to the side, they can be anywhere inside of this room, and they know exactly where you spawn. This gives you a massively disadvantageous duel, especially considering that Heretics only have the Omen Flash. So this creates a situation for Acend in which they know that no one's going to come through here late round, and so if they do decide to hit the site late, that means they can feel comfortable rotating from B across much more easily. But the main use is the crunch, because as we're going to see, that is something that Heretics really like to do. So I'm just going to demonstrate this by going through the last 3 games in which Heretics have played Bind. So here we are in the Heretics vs Snip game, which was a great game. I really recommend you go watch it. But what we're going to see here is that at the beginning of the round, Heretics go 2 up short, and then they're going to go 2 long, and they have the Cypher player to hold. Now, what we're going to see here is that Heretics, if they were to do this against Acend, would feel uncomfortable. Now, they do have the Sage Wall, which would help them out in this situation, but they still feel like it could be crunched at any time if this was to happen against Acend. Now, I'm going to really bring this point out by going into the next 2 games. So as you can see here, we are now in the Ballista versus Heretics game, and what's going to happen here is that Heretics once again put a lot of pressure up short. They have, at the beginning, 2 here, which goes into 1, and then they have 3 up on. This is now a situation again in which if they were to do this against Acend, it would at least mess up their flow and would make them feel uncomfortable doing so. So this is the final one I'm going to pick out, and this is against OG, in which a teleport crunch actually does happen against Heretics. We're going to see that they have their Cypher here, and then they're going to put the Omen through. Now, Heretics do put the Sage Wall down, but as you can see here, the Omen crunch does still happen, and it does end up having quite a lot of value. It makes Heretics change their plans, they then have to rotate away to A, and it has a lot of value. So this is something that is clearly quite effective against Heretics strat, and something that works quite nicely. It's all to say that not only is Acend faking out something that would work particularly nicely against Heretics in the last 3 of their games, but also something that has proven effective in one of their last games. So this is all particularly nice. However, that's not all there is to the strategy, and I would like to demonstrate that now. So to demonstrate this, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what actually happened, because this clearly didn't go to plan for Acend, as you can see on the winning map now, in which Heretics are grouped out towards showers. Now, what's so nice about what Acend have done is they have now put their Viper player, Kyle's, in toilets, as you can see. Now, the first thing that's really nice about it is what you can see on screen. He has his Poison Cloud down. The Poison Cloud is a nice stalling ability, as it is a damage dealing smoke. Smokes in this game are not as effective as they are in CSGO, but they are still quite effective in stalling, and especially a Viper smoke, as it does deal damage all the way down to 1 HP. That means that it can put you as low as 1 HP if you sit in it for long enough. So not only is the defender, which in this case is Kyle's, going to be in an advantageous situation visibility wise, but he's also going to be in an advantageous situation health wise, meaning that you're not going to push through. Now, the second thing to consider about a Viper is the amount of time it can stall for. Now, a Viper smoke, when used in combination with a Viper wall, gives you 15 seconds worth of fuel. Now, after this, Kyle's is going to use his Viper Molly, which lasts for 8 seconds. During those 8 seconds, it is possible to drop your smokes, as they would naturally be out of fuel, allow them to recharge, and then put them back up, giving you what I'm going to estimate to be 5 seconds worth of fuel. Then you would have a second Molotov, which would last 8 seconds again, and then you'd have another 5 seconds. Altogether, this would knock off 41 seconds from the round. 41 seconds in which cars could not be pushed from a Heretics player in an advantageous manner. Now, this is not the only nice thing that Acend are doing. They have the rest of the map very nicely planned. As we saw in the other 3 games, Heretics also like to have a lot of pressure towards long. And to counter this, what Acend have done is they have put 2 players towards long, and an overall B stack with Acend to hold the short push, if that does actually happen. Meaning they have 3 players on B alone to hold it. This is a nice advantageous duel, especially with Sky's flash, which is a nice thing to trade off of, and altogether you would like to favour that Acend are favourites if they were to go into a B hit. They also have their Sova player here in a position which can exploit the wall due to his kit, which is a nice usage of him at the beginning of the round. However, that is not to say that everything Acend does is perfect this round. I'm in the Acend position. Now, as you can see here, it does not take anything jet unique to get up into this position. You just simply take this and this. And then what I believe would happen with the rest of the round is that Acend would just fall, because it would be a complete waste of a jet dash to get out of a situation in which you could just normal fall from. You know, this is not anything unique to jet. So what I'm going to just do to quickly illustrate this is I'm going to get into the Acend position as Bone Cold Woods, which is just me as Brimstone going up the normal route, going here. I probably get my 1 kill and then I drop. You know, there is nothing jet unique about this. However, one benefit that Acend, their jet on long would be, is that he could be much more comfortable in his ability to get aggressive due to Jet's kit, mainly a dash, but he could also even use a smoke. He could get as deep as this very easily, especially with the Jet, especially with the Sky smoke. You could get information all the way up until here, which is a nice early warning sign if anyone is coming B. This has 2 major benefits. It would allow any A players to rotate B, but it would also allow me to send my B players away, because I know there's not anyone more advanced than this point against me. So that would mean that if I did meet someone, they would have more time for an A player to rotate back, meaning I could send someone away much more easily. And then if I do meet someone, I just jet dash away, and then I get back in sight. You could even smoke this off, rotate away, and then my teammates are there to help me. Whereas the Brimstone does not feel as comfortable getting this aggressive just because of the way his kit works, which is completely fair, and it would be a bit crazy for him to get all the way aggressive into here, in which we'd have to fall back here, then smoke it, and then it's all just a bit of a nightmare. So the jet is much more easy to get aggressive with, and would allow them to rotate away, which is actually what goes wrong from this round. So what I'm going to do is hop back into game, finish the round off, and so we can see why I think this would be a really big benefit in this round. So here we are into game, and I want to note 2 things. First of all, that Keyless has felt the aggression, as we pointed out earlier, and so he knows there's at least 1 player here, and he's going to hear the Cypher cam to his left, so he knows there's at least 2 now. As we can see, Bone Cold is trying to get aggressive as Brimstone here, to get information to help Acend rotate, as we have now got the Sova drone come out. However, because Bone Cold can't quite be as aggressive as Acend would as Jet, this means Acend does not stick on the rotate. They don't feel as confident with their information because it's not as deep, because Bone Cold can't get quite there, and so that Acend rotate is really late, which catches them out. A 3rd player on the site would have been a real major help and could have helped swing the momentum of this round around into Acend's favour, and instead it falls into the hands of Heretics for doing the nice old fish 1-2-3 strat. So that's my video. I'd like to thank you a lot for listening. Sorry it was a bit crap, but I really did try my best on it, and this is just my first. It's only going to get better from here, I promise, so please stick around, and thanks a lot for watching. Peace.